Okay, hello everyone, and welcome to our presentation, Leader Member Exchange, LMX Theory. My name is Bill Davis, and I am the program chair. I'm an assistant professor in COPA, College of Professional Advancement, here at the University of Arizona Global Campus. And it's an absolute pleasure to be here and to present with my colleague, Kaitlyn Sproat. Kaitlyn?
Thanks, Phil. Yes, I am an assessment specialist here at UAGC, and I support programs in COPA. I'm also an associate professor in COIL, the College of Integrative Learning, and a student here as well in the Doctor of Psychology program. And we just look forward to sharing a little bit more about LMX theory and how it can be used to support our students in the online classroom.
Absolutely. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and take this slide. What I wanted to convey to everyone first is I love leadership. I think ability is the way to influence positively, to create meaningful outcomes. I think of myself as a leader coach, as a servant leader. And what I'd like to do right now is just kind of give you a quick little snapshot of leadership theories and how they're all classified. This is what I've learned, through my graduate studies, what I practiced through the years. But back in the 1800s and the 1940s, there was a trait era. And that just says leaders are born with these special characteristics and traits. Some traits are related to leadership, but no trait defines leaders or effective leadership. But they're there, right? And that's how leadership used to be viewed. And now then it rolls into the behavioral era, 1940s and 1970s. That's where the industrial age, the industrial era, everything came about. And the next thing you know, we're studying employees and in manufacturing and different things, and seeing, how do these behaviors contribute to achieving objectives, et cetera. But these behaviors, they can be taught, and there's two categories that are task and relationship. And I like to look at relational behaviors. You'll see that come out here, how we relate with our skill sets, our communication, our soft skills. But again, behaviors alone don't determine effective leadership. It's not clear what behaviors are most effective. Now, here's what I'd like is contingency era, and that is from the early 60s to the present. Basically, what that says is there's no best way to lead. It's contingent upon the situation. So you have to know the situational variables, the context you're leading in, so that you're able to be very, very effective with your particular style. And that's what we're going to get into here is LMX theory. It's an in-group, out-group type theory, and we'll explain that a little more. Next slide, please. Okay, what is leader-member exchange? I'm going to tell you it's a contingency theory. Remember that. You can apply this in different contexts. But that LMX theory conceives that leadership as a process, and it's focused on the leader and the subordinate or the team member, who's leading, who's following. There's a dyadic in there where sometimes, they'll follow the leader, the team, and a lot of times it's leader to leader, but someone is usually leading the organization or team. And what I want you to see is there's members now, they either feel they're in or they're out, right? And we want them to get rich communication, that we want them to feel us. We want them to be close so we can bring the best out of them. One of the things that I've followed throughout my career is make time for people, listen to them, recognize them for who they are, and also serve them. Yeah, I believe in servant leadership. I mentioned that earlier. I look at my role as the lead, serve, coach, and that's very, very important. So work to bring the best out of people. And we believe that the LMX theory is a concept, a good theory that explains, predicts, and controls, and will give you some framework to maybe just look at your online classroom a little differently. So next slide, please.
I agree, Bill. And what I truly appreciate about LMX theory is that personal relationship with each follower. It's where we're looking at the leader follower. Some followers will feel that they're in the in group. Some might feel that they're part of the out group. So really being intentional with every single relationship that we have. And this clearly translates to the online classroom where we're looking at instructor-learner relationships and the dynamics, the behaviors, and the traits that we express as faculty members even. And how these interactions with our instructors can create a similar in-group and out-group effect. What works for one student might bring them into the in-group. Some students are more likely to be more responsive and reach out to their peers and instructors, whereas some of them, they might feel more withdrawn, they might not have the same level of interaction and feel that they're in that out-group. So it's us being as instructors thinking what strategies can we use to bring them into the in-group. And this really emphasizes the role of the instructor in creating an inclusive learning environment. We are the leaders in that classroom. We are the ones that are bringing them into that in group and helping them develop relationships with other students. I know personally teaching Gen 101 with our live learning, students are required to take it. And we've had opportunities where the students are sharing their majors, they're sharing where they're from, and even in the chat, they're able to share a little bit more and make those connections with students in the classroom, just in those synchronous settings, but as well as in the discussion forums, which is really great to see. How we're able to extend the boundaries of our geographic regions, making these connections all over the world and making them feel like like they belong in the classroom. So, what factors contribute to inclusion and a sense of belonging? We know that there are practices that foster inclusion, and these really come down to how our students interact with the instructor and how they interact with other students. So, those practices that support inclusion is really giving students the opportunity to discuss the content with the peers and to learn from them. And not only does that support their inclusion, it also fosters critical thinking and learning from diverse perspectives. They can learn from those informal interactions in Zoom and the discussion forums, so we can use technology to our advantage. On the opposite end, practices that lead to exclusion is when they don't have those opportunities. There's a lack of responses from their peers, or they don't necessarily have opportunities to interact. One of my students, we developed a very close personal relationship in the course, but in the final week, they posted in the discussion, an issue I ran into was the lack of responses on my discussion posts. I appreciate the few classmates who did respond. Having said that, I feel like I missed out on a lot of peer-to-peer interaction as most of my posts went without comment. So our students, they value that relationship with their instructor. The student told me when they were changing their major, let me know how they were reflecting on every written assignment that they completed, but they also crave those relationships that will extend to the next course. They are on a journey for 4 or more years at times, and they want to have those partners in their success and to make those relationships. All right, and Bill, we also have some comments from some of your students here, really highlighting some of the successes that are going on in the classroom.
Well, that's very nice, and I really appreciate this feedback from the students because that just tells me that I'm headed in the right direction. I'm engaging well, I'm connecting well, and I'm coaching well, and actually serving them very, very well. So, in these particular cases, I will use different methods to communicate, whether it's reaching out by an email or an email in the grade book. But just to make sure that they know that I care, that I'm here for them, and that I'm committed and that their success matters. And here's some feedback I got after, and I believe this feedback came from, yeah, I think these came from the end of course survey. And here's two nice comments. I absolutely love this professor. I felt so supported throughout this class. Feedback on my assignments were helpful, and he provided additional resources to help me further connect with the lesson. Communication was amazing. He reached out several times to offer support, motivation, and encouragement. You know, I do believe in contagion theory that I need to be enthusiastic in front of the students. I need to show my interest. I need to serve. I need to be consistent and credible because that transfers. And all of a sudden, you know, they sense that and the relationship becomes stronger. And then we pull them into more kind of an in-group in that whole dynamic, which is very important. And in this particular case, this student gave some really good, meaningful feedback that says I'm heading in the right direction there. Here's another one. I rarely complete these surveys, but when I do, it's because the first impression of the instructor left a lasting impression. Instructor Davis cares about his students. He's very knowledgeable. He responds within a reasonable time frame. I wish he was my instructor for all my classes. I've learned so much. Thank you for hiring one of the best. You know, one of the things I pride myself on is professionalism. It's also on creating a safe environment. It's also on uh, building relationships that are trusting and effective and being dependable and reliable for the students. They're depending on us. So how they see me act and support and give feedback is very, very important because I'm on all the time. We're on all the time. So just remember the first way that you establish credibility is through your words. Second is through your actions. So, you know, you can come out in that instructor introduction and you know when they do their introduction and come back, but then live that, talk the walk and walk the talk. I'm very pleased with this. This made me very happy. And again, it's just another indicator to keep doing what we're doing. We're impacting student success. Kaitlyn, I'm going to let you go next.
And I'd also like to emphasize how the student really recognized, again, the strategies that we're about to discuss here. So we're focusing on strategies that we can use to bring students into the in-group. So those students that might want to be on the periphery, that might be less involved, how can we bring them into the in-group, get them engaged, and get them at least the resources that they need? So as that student had mentioned, uh, Bill Davis here had brought some of those extra resources in that were tailored to the student, extra resources that were individualized. So this is where providing that individualized content-rich experience, our students are here to learn. They're here to transfer that to their careers, and we want to give them that meaningful learning experience that is supportive of their careers that they can translate outside the classroom. And then again, with their feedback, that student recognized that Bill gave them credible feedback that was relevant to their experience, to where they were going, how they can use that on their future assignments in their next course and in their career. Another one here that I really like is reducing that technology process and policy burden. Teaching Gen 101, students come in and it can be their very first course in higher education. Sometimes it might just also be the first time in an online classroom, and they're encountering a lot of barriers with technology, whether it's learning how to use Microsoft Word for the first time, using a learning management system, or other technology like digital textbooks. So my goal as an instructor is to take away some of those barriers, letting them know that they have a partner in their classroom. They have someone that they can come to with questions, but also going back to our culture of care, we also can advocate for students, letting them know how they can advocate for themselves and feel empowered. Students have access to 24/7 support. We give them those resources. That way they go on knowing that they are the main motivators in their success, that they have the self-efficacy to succeed. And then it really does come back to what Bill Davis had said, giving that positive, proactive communication with students, giving that positive talk and encouragement. While it's also the behaviors that we have, it really comes down to our communication, letting our students know that we care, and then acting it out and following through with that and showing them we care in the classroom. And whether that is giving them that individualized communication, and really, again, I really love meeting students' expectations on their term, recognizing it's not a one-size-fits-all approach. Every student comes in with different needs, they have different challenges, they might have something come up in the middle of class, and just being able to meet that student where they're at and support them in their success. Bill, anything else that you'd like to add?
No, I think you nailed it, and I think you lead by example, and I always enjoy following you, as we interface and work together as colleagues, from assessment down to us and all the different things we do. You care. And I would always tell my students that people don't care how much you know till they know how much you care. And then once they establish that caring connection, what starts to happen is success and motivation and movement and so forth, motion, positive emotion, proactive emotion. So I think you hit every one very important, and I like how you're emphasizing some of the key points here, because this is very important. And to tell that story, when I would say that to my students don't care how much, or people don't care much, till you know how much you care. I actually got a plaque one time. One of the students at the end of one of the classes sent me a plaque, and it said they changed the word people to students. They said, "Thanks for caring. We got through this course." Now, I'm telling you, you impact more than you know sometimes, because there's always a percentage out there that you want to try to pull into that in group, get a little bit closer. And sometimes the right word at the right time makes such a difference. So, Kaitlyn, I think you covered it all. Thank you.
Yes, I agree. That is one of the most meaningful parts as an instructor, is making those connections, building those lasting relationships with students, and knowing that you make a difference. And then here is just an example from my classroom where it was also emphasizing those peer-to-peer interactions. So after that student gave me that feedback, they didn't make the connections, I was very intentional about how I could use technology to my advantage. So here's where I commented on a student's post. I recognized that two students shared very similar backgrounds. They were going for the same major, and I wanted to connect them with each other. So I wrote to this student, "Hello, your work is incredibly meaningful, and I enjoyed reading why you chose business administration as your major. Additionally, your reflection on the chosen mission statement explains how our challenges can support our professional growth. It is easy to give up when things get hard, but sometimes that is when we make the most growth. Then I tagged in that other student with a similar background and I told them, you also identified the same program of study and expressed interest in mental health and wellness in your post. I found it interesting how both of you have experience with psychology and how a degree in business administration will support your professional goals. So I was very excited when the next day that student responded to my post that I tagged in, and they said, Kaitlyn, I see what you did here and I greatly appreciated it. If you're open to it, I'd like to partner with you as we embark upon our goal of obtaining our degree in business administration. So they mentioned to the student, I want to partner with you. I'm looking for someone to partner with, develop a study mate, and support each other through our collegiate degree. I do greatly respect your work as a drug and alcohol counselor. One of my platforms in life is mental wellness, and I commend all who work vigorously in helping others with their mental battles that often lead to drug and alcohol abuse. So this was an opportunity that I saw, and it's great to see our students recognize it. They see the effort that we make, the interactions that we have with them, and being able to partner them together and support students that because we only have them for a short amount of time. So helping them make those connections that can move on and extend throughout their degree program to really emphasize that in-group experience throughout their entire time at the university. All right, and then here we also have our traits of effective facilitators. As Bill mentioned earlier, it also comes back to trait theory. We know there are some traits that our students recognize are very effective in bringing them to the in-group. So Bill, are there any that stand out to you that you'd like to share?
Well, just a couple, communicate clearly and concisely, make sure there's good clarity. Be a good listener. Don't listen to respond, listen to understand. Maintain some control, manage your time, manage your students, manage your relationships, apply your EQ, emotional intelligence, self-awareness, social awareness, be aware and manage those relationships. They go a long way, but be flexible, time management, be respectful. Sweetest word to a person is their name. So, go out there and just demonstrate that you care, we care, the university cares, and we put students first. And I'm going to tell you, I'm just honored today to be here with Kaitlyn. She's such a professional, and you can just sense she cares. She's a great educator, and as I'm participating in this, I'm tuning up myself a little bit. And we hope that you will take some of these insights and maybe you'll apply one or two that'll make a positive difference and an impact in a student's life and in your ability to teach. So that's all I wanted to say. They're all good. I think you put together a great list here, Kaitlyn. So thank you for this research.
Yeah, so what I appreciate about what you do, Bill, is that you emphasize all of these traits, you embody them, and you also model them for students. We know that they need these skills to be successful, not just in the classroom, but in their careers, since many of them are going to look for that professional advancement. So really it is emphasizing how you are leading by example, showing them how they can do the exact same in their careers also.
Thank you. Well, this is just something, efficient reminding, I guess you could call it. I like to always, if I see something I like, I'm a lifelong learner. I'm still learning, love learning from everyone, across departments, colleges, students. I learn from a lot of students, very smart students in our classroom getting the next level advance. But anyway, this is something that I put on top of my computer a few years back because I wanted to make sure that I'm focused all the time. And what I put up there was our vision. Empower every student, support every student, enrich every student, and graduate every student. That's where I'm going. That's what I want to do. I want to put my leadership and coaching to work here to help students be successful. In the College of Professional Advancement, we have a mission. I'm just going to read this mission because I happen to have this up on the computer. Our mission is to inspire and empower students to advance as professionals, individuals, and community leaders. We care. We want that success. We want them feeling good, feeling safe. We want to increase their sense of belonging, believing, their self-efficacy, their confidence. We're there for them. And really, when students see that they matter, they have that sense of belonging, that fits right into mattering theory, where the student's important. Give them that attention, that they have the interest of us, as educators, the importance that, that others care about what you want, think, and do. We're listening. You saw Kaitlyn listening to those two students about wanting to connect and get together. She was in tune with that dynamic. The ego extension, the feeling that others will be proud of your successes. Dependence, the feeling that a person can depend on someone else. We believe that all the students can depend on us because we're all very committed and dedicated to excellence, doing the right things the right way. And you could see that just the effort put into this here and with my colleague Kaitlyn that we care. So we want to continue that. So really, that's all I wanted to say is be aware of your vision, your mission, your purpose, lead with purpose, and lead with empathy and compassion. Put yourself in their shoes. What would it be like for you, a working adult balancing roles, maybe a mom with children? I mean, where are they at? And be in tune, be in sync, and understand. So, Kaitlyn, I hope that kind of fits where you were at with this slide.
Oh, yes, and I agree, Bill. I think it really is letting the student take the lead at times, recognizing, as we mentioned earlier, this is a dyadic relationship. The student is also an equal partner in this relationship. They can drive that partnership and have the ownership and letting them realizing that this is their journey to go on and that they can determine where it's heading. And so we would like to thank you so much for attending and listening to our session here today. If you'd like to reach out for additional resources or the resources used, you can feel free to contact me at kaitlyn.sproat@uagc.edu. And I want to thank you again, Bill, for sharing your thoughts and expertise on LMX theory and your role as an instructor and really being advocating for your students and empowering them in the classroom.
Well, it was an absolute honor and a pleasure to present with you and to team up to further student success. You can reach me anytime at bill.davis@uagc.edu. I'm always looking to connect with students, faculty, students. If you need some flash mentoring, you need some advice, find me. We will respond. And I want to say Kaitlyn is the same way. Boy, I'll tell you, I send her an email and I'll get that response back in 15, 20 minutes usually. Now, maybe she may not respond to a request that fast, but she's that good. And that shows commitment and dedication. And I just want to leave you with these final words. Make time for students, your colleagues, your peers. Listen to them. Recognize them for who they are. Serve them to the best of your ability. And here, bring the best out of people. And that's what the in-group does. When they move into the in-group, they know they're safe. They know that they're going to get a good 5 weeks or 6 weeks of learning. And so important as students are moving toward their personal and professional goals. Thank you, everybody, for listening. We hope we add a little value to you. And that's it. Thank you.